The Avowed situation just keeps getting crazier. Every single time you think, oh, there's not going to be any more news about Matt Hansen and his crusty old white dudes in the gaming industry comment, there happens to be something that pops up. And now an Ex-Obsidian whistleblower is saying that Matt Hansen is pure evil. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I do not think that Matt Hansen cares about the fact that people view him as an evil, terrible individual. He has his own opinion about himself that he is going to stick to no matter what, because he probably genuinely believes in the message that is being pushed in AAA games that we are seeing a decline with. And now a whistleblower from Obsidian has come forward with some seriously wild information about the studio's internal culture under Microsoft's ownership, and more specifically, how Matt Hansen grew to power over there. So this does originate from Smash JT. Of course, I always say when it comes to whistleblowers or rumors, take it with a grain of salt, but he's done a pretty good job over the past couple of months. So the center of this catastrophe of the workplace, none other than Matt Hansen. Some of the stuff I was told about him is going to blow your mind. After his initial video expose discussing some of the concerns found in Hansen's Blue Sky tweet history, this whistleblower decided to reach out via email. They told me that they were a big fan of my videos exposing Firewalk Studios and BioWare, and from that they felt confident that I was the perfect person to divulge this info to in order to get it out there for everyone. So of course, yeah, now a whistleblower, Doe, informed him after putting all of this information together what exactly they're going to be dealing with after this gets published. I know how spiteful of a person Matt unfortunately is, and I know he and probably others will try to witch hunt me just to try and make my life hell because they aren't getting their way. People at these larger companies hate when any information is leaked because they know that it just makes them look significantly worse, and we are still a few months away from Avowed's release date, supposed to launch February 18th, which is pretty bad news given Assassin's Creed Shadows is now coming out on February 14th, so they're going to be competing. But I think that this game is going to face problems. It is on Game Pass, so I don't necessarily think it's going to be a massive flop, but I do think that it is going to struggle. So they talk about how there is a bit of a pronoun situation going on. The shift in workplace dynamics began after Microsoft acquired Obsidian November 2018 and made them a part of Xbox Game Studios. While initially framed as optional, it quickly became clear that dissent was not welcome, and you had to include pronouns in things like email signatures, meetings, and other forms of communication. Doe decided they didn't want to add pronouns to their communications, but went along with it. The idea that others were free to do so, a live and let live mantra that initially at least seemed so harmless at the time, but he knew deep down that not including pronouns wasn't a good look from the jump, but declined them anyways because it was just so strange to list them. Of course, this harmless pronoun situation turned serious shortly after the initial email came through, so it seems that while they claim that adding pronouns is optional, it was basically forced upon you that you were going to be viewed differently, and ultimately you were going to be judged in the workplace, which is unfortunate because if you are saying it is optional, people should not be shamed and shunned for not going along with the rest of the crowd. This is a major issue in the mainstream gaming industry right now, is that we are talking about only one type of person really having a voice within the industry, and that is these radical leftists, these activists. They push out other people, and it's like I had just talked about the wheel of privilege that Behavior Interactive was pushing on their developers and how they made their devs go through this DEI training program and recognizing their power and their privilege. That isn't optional, but if a normal person was to see that and they were working at this company, they probably would go, there's no shot I'm going to deal with this, and they would quit. So the normal people have left the industry in droves, and it's only left one type of person with one type of mentality creating these games, and that's sad. So now we have this harmless idea of instituting pronouns turning out to be quite harmful in the grand scheme. Who'd have thought? In all seriousness, he described what he would agree as using the pronouns as a way of controlling others and using them as a way to shift the power balance and structure culture of the entire organization. Power is a very slippery slope because while they say, oh, it's optional and they're slowly implementing it, there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be another step. I talk about this with censorship a lot. Oh, yeah, it might just be a panty shot that's censored, but then you might have cleavage censored in the next game. In the game after that, the character might have a drastically different outfit or dialogue may be changed. It is not a situation that you want to find yourself in. Of course, it's a slippery slope, but for Doe, this was actually a turning point. But they also observed that Matt Hansen is extremely difficult to work with, citing an unwillingness to accept constructive criticism and a consistent tendency to make assumptions about lower-level employees' commitment. These experiences, combined with a broader sense that the company's priorities had shifted away from fostering a collaborative and creative environment, left him questioning their place within the studio, which is sad because if you start working at a company like Obsidian, you expect to be the best of the best, to be a part of a project that people are going to love. Obsidian's a massive name. Same with BioWare, for example. That's why when Dragon Age the Veilguard came out, we were like, this is what they created. It's pathetic. Same with Rocksteady. The new Rocksteady sucks. They create games like Kill the Justice League that nobody wants, and it seems that that same exact thing is now happening with Obsidian and Avowed. They've previously created Knights of the Old Republic 2, Fallout New Vegas, Pillars of Eternity, fantastic titles, but it seems that the activists at the company did shift the direction of content that they are creating, which is very, very sad to hear. Apparently, there's also spiritual warfare going on in the workplace. To Doe, the struggles within Obsidian represented far more than the workplace conflicts. They were a battleground in a larger spiritual war between good and evil. Doe began the conversation recalling a pivotal moment 2 years ago after the pandemic began, when the company held a meeting to discuss returning to office. The reaction from employees were nothing short of completely unhinged. Not particularly surprising. We've even seen Rockstar employees just a few months ago throwing a hissy fit that they were required to go back to the office, and it wasn't even full time. It was like the majority of the time, sure, but not even full time. You would think that these people would be happy and feel lucky to work at a company that big with a company that does pay above average. But nope, they still are complaining. They're still triggered. And someone like Matt Hansen talks about how he wants to push, crusty white dudes out of the video game industry when he himself could just leave. He could disappear and then, put his money where his mouth is, basically. He has the ability to push a crusty old white dude out of the industry, yet he's not doing it because he's getting paid, and he really only cares about being a virtue signaling fuck. So I can't say I'm surprised to hear that Obsidian is a place of toxicity now, that we are talking about a company that has somebody this evil at kind of the helm and is one of the major players. He's obviously not like the director of the game or anything, but it seems that he did definitely help foster this toxic work environment, and it's pretty pathetic to see. We also know that Doe had said, my goal with helping bring all of this to light is I want to help spread awareness of what is actually the problem in our industry and where it's coming from and why. I do not want to see my friends and peers fail. I do not want to see Obsidian and Microsoft fail. I would love to see healthy competition again in our industry where developers are unshackled by bad management and leadership, shareholders and investors' personal interests. Making a good game comes first. If you can convey a message through a seamless and fun experience, then even better. Let the creative endeavor happen naturally. It can't be forced. I'm a firm believer in the free market of ideas and mediocrity, and whatever is the best idea for the game and what the player base wants, that's what should be implemented, which I 100% without a shadow of a doubt agree with. So it sounds like this person, yes, is a true passionate gamer, one of the few that actually works at these major companies now. So I will be keeping my eye on this to see if Matt Hansen basically throws a hissy fit and tries to come out and defend himself. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen, since at this point in time he's gone dark. He doesn't really want to stir the pot anymore, but whenever he makes a statement now, people are going to be harshly scrutinizing him. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.